Welcome to another nonchalant episode of Monday Movie Pickup. So it looks like the couch is here to stay. I haven't moved it. I don't think I'm going to move it. I think it's just staying. It's part of the room now. It feels good. Once again, kind of a random barrage of different films, but if you kind of stay with me there, audience, you can kind of see where I came from with a lot of these purchases. So, Out of Africa. This was a weird one because it seemed to be going higher in price at different times. I'm not sure if this was one that it's out of print at the moment. I know this came out a couple of years ago from Universal. I'm sure it would be re-released again if there are truly no more copies of it, but it kind of jumps up and down in price, so I finally snagged it when it was at a lower price. This is, of course, the Best Picture winner. This is one that I don't hear people talk about often, so I don't know if it's that great, but once again, I'm collecting all the Best Picture winners. I have here Dark Star. This is a film I never heard anything about except John Carpenter, his debut feature film. This is kind of a 2001 rip-off but spoof of it. It's making fun of 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's even called that on the back. So, luckily, John Carpenter's films are all available on Blu-ray. In fact, the TV films are also available on Blu-ray. So, I've had him in my Amazon list for a while, and I'm just going to start trying to finish that complete Carpenter collection as well. The Curse of La Llorna. So this is not technically part of the Conjuring universe. According to the Wikipedia page, it still is, and according to some fans, it still is. But on the top, it is saying that it's from the producers of The Conjuring, but the other Blu-rays are from the Conjuring universe, say it's part of the Conjuring universe. I'm still going to include this in my upcoming Conjuring video I'm doing, but yeah, I guess I'll have to watch it first before I can really decide. Hey, I mean, look at this. There's trees in the background. The original Conjuring poster had a tree. Batman, Soul of the Dragon. So this one just looked awesome. I like collecting the Batman films on Blu-ray, and I couldn't really pass this one up. As you can see, some of the characters look... I mean, it looks a lot like Bruce Lee. It looks a lot like the characters from Enter the Dragon. So it's like, I know what they're going for with this movie, and that's why I'm hyped to see it. I don't know anything else about it beyond that, but I saw it in store. It was for a pretty good price, so I was like, screw it, I want it. I like getting the Batman animated stuff. I usually don't get the newer ones this soon, but that was one where it's just the premise alone, I was like, I gotta see this. I have ReAnimator on Blu-ray. So this is the Arrow video release, and this is just a horror series I've been holding off on watching for a long time. I think the sequels were available through Arrow, but they were also available through other sellers. I think Umbrella has a 2-pack of the films that does work on American Blu-ray players, so that might actually be the one that I get, but I can't remember if it was Umbrella or Arrow, but I'm pretty sure it was the Umbrella release that had both Bride of ReAnimator and Beyond ReAnimator. But I figured I'd see the first one, as a lot of people have said the first one is very good, kind of cult classic of the 80s. So here's the Kino release of White Zombie, which I did watch recently, and I'm going to rewatch for an upcoming review. This is part of the 200 film box set that's up there. I don't know if... Nope, it's not on frame. But the 200 film box set I'm using for the Conquering 200 Films series, the Mill Creek 200 film horror pack. So this is a public domain film that is available through that set, but this is just the best transfer that exists of this film right now. It's a pretty good movie. I don't think it's even Lugosi's best movie. A lot of people praise him for this film specifically, but it's a good time. I also had the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari here, so this is actually the 4K release of the film. It's on a 4K disc, but it is like the 4K restoration that they did of the film. And this is another one that's on that 200 film box set, public domain film. So this would be another film I'd have to review, and I figured if I'm seeing one of the earliest horror films... I also have this other Kino release from the Kino Studio Classics line, The Cat and the Canary, and yeah, I wanted to check this out. I've heard a lot about this. I've heard this referenced various times in other horror commentaries, so I just figured I'd get the film that everyone's talking about, but I wasn't able to find the silent film on Blu-ray, or there's not a Kino release of it. I thought there was a Kino release of this one, because this is actually the 1939 film, which is a remake of the film from the 20s, but I couldn't find a Blu-ray of that. I thought Kino had one, but unfortunately they don't. It is a film that you can find online, and you can find a lot of DVDs, because it is a public domain film, but I just would like to watch them both. I'd like to watch A Cat and a Canary, and then, you know, the different films that were influenced by it. And then also from Shout Factory. So yeah, we got some Shout Factory stuff. Universal Horror Collection. This is now volume 5. I have the first 4 volumes. The 5th one, where there were 2 gorilla films, which, you know, or apes, or yeah, there's some pretty crappy gorilla films from back in the day. There's The Ape with Boris Karloff. There's The Monster Walks. It seemed like every studio had their gorilla or ape film, and I guess Universal did it too. They probably were some of the bigger studios to give it a try. Of course, all of this was probably just influenced by the fact that King Kong had come out, but, you know, I was interested in getting that box set because, you know, I enjoyed the first few. They have some good special features, and this one also has some commentaries. They all do. So Shout really went out of their way to make such a good set out of these, even for some of these lesser-known horror Universal horror films. I don't know how much they're considered horror, but they were always considered part of like the horror line. Some of these were released on VHS under like the Universal horror moniker, and it's cool that they add so many special features. But it's funny because like a lot of the Universal films that were released by Universal themselves, a lot of their horror movies don't have as many special features for each individual film. So I'd almost kind of wish that Shout Factory would re-release some with new special features and commentaries for each film. The Man in the Iron Mask. I love this movie. This was a film that my fiance showed me, and I honestly had such a good time with. It does have the flip around cover, so I'm sure people are more aware of this side. Leonardo DiCaprio's in the film, of course. John Malkovich, Jeremy Irons. It's kind of a stacked list. It's not a film that was critically praised at the time. I don't even know if it's really that noteworthy nowadays, but I didn't expect much while watching it, but I actually really got into this movie, and then I heard that they did have this Shout Factory edition, so I was like, screw it. I want this Shout Factory edition with the extra special features, and I don't care. I think it's a great movie. I have a lot of fun watching that. We also have Matinee here. So this was actually in my 10 family favorites set that I got from Universal, but now a lot of those films are getting released through Shout Select with more special features. It's a Joe Dante film, which is another director. I'd like to have all his work on Blu-ray. And I saw it the one time a couple years ago, but now it's been a Patreon request, so it's about time I give it a rewatch. I remember not loving it the first time. I got to give Matinee another watch because I will say, like, as far as being a tribute to just the movies of the 50s in general, it's very good. I do have some of these other random films as well, like Mulan, which was a Patreon request last month, so I bought the Blu-ray, and you can go watch my review of that film online, but not a fan. Not a fan of live-action Mulan. I also have Tom and Jerry here, which I have seen this film. It's a Patreon request. Ryan's been requesting all the Warner Animation Group films. I had a lot of kind of hope for this film, just from the original premise and people talking about it. And then I saw the trailer, and I was like, this kind of looks like all those other, 2000s and 2010s animation hybrids that they did with old characters, kind of like what they did with like Yogi Bear and Alvin and the Chipmunks. And I was like, even though they have the original animation style, I still feel like this is missing the ball. And I saw the film on HBO Max, and it wasn't good. I'm gonna rewatch it. Now I have the Blu-ray of it. It's not good. Just as a preview to that review. And then I have Double Jeopardy here. So this is another film that's being requested on Patreon, along with Kiss the Girls and Along Came a Spider. I figured Double Jeopardy only has a DVD release, so I figured this was like actually the cheapest way to get it was with 2 other movies. So I was like, all right, 2 more movies. Unfortunately, these other films, which I will check out eventually, these have Blu-ray releases, so it's like, if I were to upgrade them at some point, I can, but it's just weird because it's like I never expected to own these, so I don't know if I'll get to that anytime soon. But it's funny, the one film I actually have to watch, there's not a Blu-ray release of it, so I don't know. I don't know what that's all about. I haven't heard anything about Double Jeopardy, but you can't really go wrong with Tommy Lee Jones. I'm more interested in these other films though. Morgan Freeman. I mean, come on, Morgan Freeman's in both of these, but that he's not in Double Jeopardy, I don't think. At least I haven't read about it. Maybe he shows up at some point, but I was figuring this is like an almost Morgan Freeman collection. I don't know what these 3 films have in common. Like, I'm trying to read the directors and the... Okay, so the producer, there's David Brown was a producer on 2 of them. That's it. James Patterson had the novel for 2 of them. And then that's it. I don't think he wrote Double Jeopardy. They would have said in the credits, right? So I don't know. You just got like 3 films here that I don't know what this one has to do with the rest of them. Maybe it's because they don't have a Blu-ray release for it, and they're like, we got to get this out on DVD somehow. Anyway, that was everything this week, and I hope I'm not back next week because I need to stop for a while. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the video, and special shout out to Lauren, Anthony, Anna, Kirsten, Spencer, Lucas, Ryan, and Robert for supporting me on Patreon. By joining my Patreon, you can get exclusive blogs and videos, and for just $7, you can get your own monthly movie review. I hope you stick around, Cinephile, and have a happy, productive day.